The Sea Dogs for the last 30 years. Great experience.
Everybody here is just bends over backwards to help people out and wish the world was like it is right here at the ballpark.
We've always wanted to be more than just a baseball team. We want to be strong, active, contributing members of the community. And I think that effort is seen by the people and the fans, and they want to support that effort.
Place in the East, 9.5 games back of the Phillies, and with a win tonight, Brian Snitker's bunch will have taken 3 of 4 from the Mets. Braves will lead it off tonight with the right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. Batting second, first baseman Matt Olson, and hitting third, designated hitter Marcell Ozuna. Batting cleanup for the Braves, third baseman Austin Riley. Hitting fifth, catcher Sean Murphy. Batting sixth, second baseman Ozzie Albies. Hitting seventh, left fielder Eli White. Batting eighth, center fielder Michael Harris. Batting ninth, shortstop Nick Allen, and on the mound for the Braves, it's the right-hander Grant Holmes. Grant 4-6 with a 3.71 ERA and coming off a win in his last outing. So again for the Braves, Acuna, Olson, Ozuna, Riley, Murphy, Albies, White, Harris, Allen, and Holmes on the mound. Now for the Mets, who have dropped 10 of their last 12 games. They're managed by Carlos Mendoza. They're 47-34 this season. They're in second place in the East and a half game back of the Phillies. Mets will lead it off tonight with their switch-hitting shortstop Francisco Lindor. Batting second, designated hitter Brandon Nimmo, and hitting third, right fielder Juan Soto. Batting cleanup, first baseman Pete Alonso. Hitting fifth, left fielder Jeff McNeil. Batting sixth, center fielder Tyrone Taylor. Hitting seventh, third baseman Brett Beatty. Batting eighth, catcher Luis Torrens. Batting ninth, second baseman Ronnie Mauricio. And on the mound for the Mets, the right-hander Griffin Canning. He's 29 years old. He's 7-3 this season with a 3.91 ERA. So again for the Mets, it's Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso, McNeil, Taylor, Beatty, Torrens, Mauricio, and Canning on the mound. Great to have you with us on a Thursday night. First pitch when we come back. Braves and Mets right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
A golf instructor who knows technique can improve an aspiring pro's swing. But one who really cares can help transform a career.
There he is, your new champion.
When you team up with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Attention Braves fans, we have a major announcement. Tire Discounters is back as the tire retailer partner of the Braves. Here's their snazzy jingle. Sorry to interrupt, but all of us at Tire Discounters are really excited because every time the Braves hit a homer, we're giving all the fans a great deal. Cash off on select tires and free alignments. And free oil changes. Okay, roll it. See store for details.
The official hotel partner of your Atlanta Braves, Ami Hotel.
A lot of baseball fans have some familiarity with the T206 American Tobacco card set. Of course, features the famous Honus Wagner card. What we have here are 3 cards from the lesser-known T205 set, which really was a successor to T206. T206 came out in 1909. These 3 cards, as part of the T205 set, came out in 1911.
So without further ado, snap on your time goggles and prepare to zoom 1,000 years into the future. The D-backs are still the D-backs, though now they're represented by a robotic techno-snake, and the Cubs have embraced their future amongst the stars, now being represented by Ursa Major. Minneapolis was the first to establish relations with our extraterrestrial friends. The Rays are the cosmic rays flying through space in their devil ray shaped.
Top of the red tomahawk. And the Mets, for the first time at home this season, are wearing their alternate blue uniform tops, white pants, blue lettering, blue numerals outlined in orange, and New York across the chests of their uniforms in cursive. Tire Discounters Round Tripper Home Run Promotion offers Braves fans a next day instant savings on sets of select tires, plus a free alignment and a free oil change. The more homers the Braves hit, the bigger the deals at Tire Discounters. Learn more at tirediscounters.com/Braves. The rotation of umpires has John the Ripper Tumpane behind the plate. Down at first base, it's Todd Titchener. Second base umpire is Adam Hammery. Third base umpire is James Jean. The leather for the Mets has Pete Alonso at first base. Ronnie Mauricio is at second base. The shortstop is Francisco Lindor. The third baseman is Brett Beatty. And the outfield for the Mets, Jeff McNeil is in left. Tyrone Taylor man center. Juan Soto is on patrol, and right is Luis Torrens. And on the mound, the right-hander Griffin Canning. He was property of the Braves this past offseason for about a month, and then was granted his free agency, signed with the Mets, and he's been a success story here for New York. He's gone 7-3 with a 3.91 ERA, and this will be his 16th. He's facing Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, and Marcell Ozuna. Starting up tonight right on time at 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 Central, and 69 degrees. That's after it was 100 degrees 48 hours ago. This is a lot more comfortable. Here's the 0-1 pitch on the way. Ronald Acuna swings and misses. They've had good crowds this entire series, but I think the cooler temperatures have brought out an even larger crowd. This looks like the biggest crowd of this series thus far. Mets and Braves on a Thursday night. Braves won game 1 3-2. They won game 2 7-4. And then the Mets won last night 7-3. Here's the 0-2 pitch on the way from Griffin Canning. Right-hander kicks and fires, and Acuna takes a ball high. For Griffin Canning, we saw him last year, Darren, and the Braves had an answer for everything that he threw at him.
Yeah.
7 runs. What are they going to be seeing tonight? I know you'll get to that scouting report after this 1-2 pitch. Acuna staring down Canning, and the pitch on the way from Canning. Fouled back.
Yeah, I think Canning is quite a different pitcher than he was last season. A lot of the same stuff, but he's really changed how he uses it. Made a big effort throwing a lot more sliders this year, especially to lefties as well and righties.
Wind up in his 1-2 pitch. Up and in. Missed with a curveball.
Also has a curveball. So those 3 pitches comprise about 90% of his arsenal. And then occasionally he'll throw a curveball, a cutter, and very infrequently a sinker. And that cutter is a new pitch for him. He did not throw that last year. He's added that to try and give lefties something else to think about.
He's got a slow wind up. High blue socks up to the knees. Kicks and now brings the 2-2. And Acuna takes a call, third strike. 96-mile-an-hour fastball. And John Tumpain, home plate umpire, rings him up with that stabbing motion that he's so notorious for.
First stabbing victim of the night.
That's why he's called the Ripper. So 1 down. The time of the first pitch brought to you by Schumann Farms. Look for real sweet brand Vidalia onions from Schumann Farms in a store near you. 1 out for Matt Olson. Matt's had a big series, 5 for 12. Offering on the way from Canning, and there's a called strike. For Canning, as I mentioned, a record of 7-3, a 3.91 ERA through 15 starts. The 7 matches his career high. That was from 2023 when he finished with a 7-8 record. 0-1 pitch to Olson, pushed him off the plate with a cutter. Last outing for Canning, very similar to what he's done all year long. It was against the Phillies. He went just 5 innings, gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, 6 hits, couple walks, 4 strikeouts, got a win. And that's been happening a lot for Canning. The Mets have gone 11-4 in his starts this year. But it's not like he's been a starter going deep in games. Here's the 1-1 pitch on the way. And Olson takes a called strike. In fact, in his 15 starts, he's gone 6 innings just 3 times. He hasn't gone beyond 6 a single time. So, Darren, he's been doing just enough and getting lots of run support.
Yeah, he sure has. He's been very fortunate that his teammates like it when he pitches.
1-2 to Olson. And a check swing, he did not go, according to James Jean, the third base umpire. And it gives Matt another crack at it with a 2-2 count.
And looking at his game logs, he's only gone 100 pitches once, so the Mets really haven't pushed him. And that's a luxury you have when you have a really good bullpen. And we mentioned the Mets really strong early in the bullpen, but have been scuffling here the last couple weeks.
No score, top of the first. 2-2 to Olson. And he'll swing and miss at a slider for strike 3. So back-to-back strikeouts for Griffin Canning. And now it's up to Marcell Ozuna to keep the Braves out of a 1-2-3 inning. Speaking of Canning, there's always that one guy in a rotation, regardless of team. And it always seems like that one guy gets all the run support.
Yeah.
And that's been Griffin Canning this year. He's been given 5 runs of support or more in 9 of his 15 starts this season. So they've been scoring for Canning. Here's Ozuna. Pitch on the way to Marcell, and a ground ball out to third. On the other end, Brett Beatty's got it. Zips it across the diamond, and the Braves go down 1-2-3. So nothing happening for Atlanta here early. We head to the bottom of the first inning. Braves nothing, and the Mets coming up on...
Well, we certainly served it up over the plate. This is a burger fit for a home run king, the 99 burger in honor of Aaron Judge. They sell a bazillion of these at Yankee Stadium. It looks pretty good. I feel like we passed the test. What about you?
I think so.
Chicago, Illinois.
Well, the Braves went down 1-2-3 in the top of the first inning, and now Grant Holmes and the Braves fan out defensively across Citi Field. Here's a look at the leather for Atlanta. Matt Olson at first base. Ozzie Albies at second. Nick Allen at shortstop, and Austin Riley is at third base. In the Braves outfield, Eli White out in left field. Michael Harris patrolling center. Ronald Acuna prowling around in right field. Sean Murphy is the catcher, and the pitcher is the right-hander Grant Holmes. 29 years old out of Conway, South Carolina. Grant, 6 feet tall, 230-pound righty, making his 16th start of the season and his 17th appearance. And he'll go to work on Francisco Lindor. First pitch to Lindor, swung on miss. Good fastball at 93. For Holmes this season, 4 wins, 6 losses, a 3.71 ERA, and he's coming off a really good performance in his last go-round against the Marlins. Got a win in that game. In fact, that was on this road trip. Braves won that game 7-0. He pitched into the 6th inning. He didn't give up a single run. He did walk 5, giving up 5 hits and 5 strikeouts, and the walk's always something that he's concentrating on to try to eliminate. 0-1 swung on and missed, nothing in 2. Good cutter there, and that kind of backs up your point from our pregame open.
Yeah, we expect to see a lot of cutters here today. Grant made an adjustment last start. A lot of hard contact on his four-seamer early.
He squares up to it in front of the wall, makes the catch about 4 feet in front of the fence. And 1 down here in the first inning. You know, we talk about the secondary stuff for Grant Holmes, and it's easy to look at the slider and curveball and be impressed, but he's needed another, at least variation of a fastball to set it all up.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he has found the answer with that cutter?
Well, I hope so. Thus far, his four-seamer has been one of the worst fastballs in the league. Just really struggling with it. A lot of hard contact, a lot of home runs. So he's trying to limit that damage, keep the ball in the yard.
Pitch on the way to Brandon Nimmo, and a called strike with a cutter.
And that was the first cutter he's thrown away to a lefty. So that's what I call an arm side cutter for a right-handed pitcher. And that's the pitch we did see him struggle with in the second half of his start against the Marlins, throwing that for a strike.
0-1 pitch. Fastball, same location, in for a strike, 0-2.
And this is ideal. He's gotten to 2 strikes without showing Brandon Nimmo his best pitch, his slider.
Way ahead 0-2. Pitch on the way. Low and inside with a curveball. When you talk about the fastball or cutter location, arm side, is
thought it was going to drop as well, if I'm being honest.
Last night with a 2-homer effort. First pitch slider at the bottom of the zone, over for a called strike. A time called by home plate umpire John Tumpain. He wanted Holmes to kick the rosin bag out of view. It was really at the top of the mound rather than at the base of the mound. So he just flips it back with his foot, and he's ready to go now. Here's the 0-1 pitch on the way to Soto. And a big swing and a miss to the slider. A couple of sliders, and he's up 0-2.
Yeah, that should be an effective pitch for Grant here tonight. Grant has a lot of depth on that slider, way over the league average movement on that pitch. So that's a weapon for him down there against Soto.
His 11th pitch of the inning, and he misses low inside with a curveball. Well, that last outing for Holmes, we mentioned it was a win over the Marlins, which was great for Grant. The Braves had lost his previous 4 starts. The Braves have gone 6-10 in his appearances this season. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Soto takes a fastball high and away. And really where he struggled, walks and homers. In 85 innings pitched this season, he's allowed 14 home runs and he's walked 39 batters. And a lot of those times, those two follow each other up. Walk and then a homer. Not a good combination. 2-2 pitch on the way, and Soto grounds one out to first base. Knocked down by Olson. He picks up, throws to the bag. That's in time. Great job by Olson to stick with it. He got leather on it, but then it trickled right behind him. Was on the first cut of the grass in shallow right field. Went back to get it. Holmes at the bag on a 3-1 putout. And both teams go down in order in the first. We head to the top of the second inning. No score in New York.
Hard hit ball to short. Scooped up and tossed to second. Quick.
If you swap a jersey, one of the players on the National League, who would it be? Who would you pick?
Okay, so I got an Ohtani jersey last year, so
Nice.
I'm gonna probably say Harper.
Maybe Judge. He's one of the greatest to play the game in the last 5, 6, 7 years, so it'd be cool to have his jersey. Ellie's been fun to watch. Yeah, Ellie'd be a cool one. I mean, his jersey would probably be too big for me. It'd probably go down to my knees.
Jonathan, producer engineer Jonathan Chadwick, Ben Ingram here with you. Don't you know that Holmes and Canning are thrilled to be pitching in the final game of this series given the temperature change?
Yeah.
A lot easier to pitch when it's 69 rather than 99, isn't it?
It's absolutely. I mean, it feels like April or September here tonight, or maybe you jumped on a flight from Phoenix to Seattle. Yeah, it was cooking hot the first 3 games of the series.
Drastic change, and one that we welcome. It'll be Riley, Murphy, and Albies for the Braves in the top of the second inning. And this is the Toyota Stolen Base Challenge inning. Introduce you to our contestant after the first pitch to Austin Riley. Here it is from the righty Griffin Canning. Now there's a pitch that bounced in the dirt. If the Braves steal a base this inning, our contestant Larry Parker will win $150 in free Marathon gas cards. And you can enter the Toyota Stolen Base Challenge by visiting Braves.com/Stolen Base Challenge. Austin Riley, 3 hits in the series. Trying to pace the offense here in the second. 1-0 pitch on the way from Canning. And there's a ball outside. We mentioned that the Braves have seen Canning once in his career. It was August of last year in Anaheim as he was pitching for the Halos. Gave up 7 runs on 8 hits in 4 1/3 innings. And Marcell Ozuna and Whit Merrifield took him deep in that game. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's fouled back our way. That hit the lip of the overhang right above us in a 2-1 count. For Canning, 6 years in the big leagues, the previous 5 with the Angels. And this is his first season with the Mets. He allowed more earned runs last year than any other pitcher in the American League, surrendering 99 of them. There's the 2-1 pitch, and there's a high and mighty drive to right. Soto to the wall, and right at the wall makes the catch. Riley thought he had it, and he hit it to the part of the wall that juts slightly back. If that's about 4 or 5 feet to the left, good shot, it might get out of here. But Soto makes the catch, and 1 down.
Or if it's 30 degrees warmer, that ball gets out of here easy.
Yeah, good point.
Austin picked the wrong night to put a charge into one.
So Riley missed a homer. Here's Sean Murphy. Murphy's making his second start in this series. And the first pitch to him. And he'll take a ball outside. For Canning, a little bit of hardware on his mantle. He was a Gold Glove winner in 2020. His right-hander looking into his catcher, Luis Torrens. And the pitch on the way. Murphy takes a called strike. Canning, a former second-round pick out of UCLA back in 2017. And as we have discussed before, last offseason, traded to the Braves in exchange for Jorge Soler, and then granted his free agency, and he signed with the Mets. 1-1 to Murphy, and he swings and misses at a slider.
I was just thinking about this pitching matchup, Ben, and the first 3 pitching matchups of this series, there was a clear favorite in the starting pitchers. You know, the first 2 with the Spencers favored the Braves. Yesterday had a 20-year-old rookie going in Fuentes for the Braves, so that favored the Mets a little bit.
1-2 fouled back.
And so it's fitting that this game tonight has 2 good pitchers that they both use their sliders quite a bit, but whichever team, the Mets or the Braves, executes their game plan the best is going to win tonight, because both of these guys can pitch, and you know how they want to get you out. So it's whoever executes better in the batter's box tonight.
Here's the 1-2 to Murphy. And a ball low, missed with a slider.
And the game results have followed the favored pitching matchup the first 3 games of the series. So today, the most even pitching matchup in my mind of the series.
Could be settling in for a tight one. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way to Murphy. And he just about hit him in the shoulder. Boy, looking back on the numbers on Riley's fly ball to right, would have been a home run in 16 of 30 ballparks. Hit it 386 feet. Couldn't get it out. Instead, 1 down, bases empty, no score in the top of the second inning. There's the 3-2 pitch on the way to Sean Murphy. And a funny swing there on a slider in the dirt, and he is not happy with himself. Third strikeout by Griffin Canning. 5 up and 5 down for him. Now the bat in the hands of Ozzie Albies.
And we talked about Grant Holmes' slider having a lot more depth, downwards break on it than the average Major League slider. Canning also has a good slider, and he throws it right about 35% of the time, just like Grant Holmes. So a battle of the sliders here tonight.
I'll tell you what that tells me. There's a pitch on the way to Ozzie Albies. And there's a ball high. Both these guys have good sliders. And, of course, you could say, okay, it's a matchup of guys who are trying to do their best executing the slider, but it might be more along the lines of who can set up that pitch the best.
Yes. It's an important part of it.
Both swing and miss pitches for these two pitchers. 1-0 pitch, low and inside. And that's where that cutter comes into play for Grant Holmes, and, of course, for Canning, that fastball. Canning will be throwing that cutter to some of these lefties. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Ozzie Albies, who is looking for his third hit of the series. Canning deals. That'll be sent foul. That lands in the second deck down the left field line. Breeze blowing in from right field. Breezy down on the field. And overcast skies here in New York. 2-1 to Albies. It'll ground one sharply out to second. Gloved by Ronnie Mauricio. Winds and fires, and there's out number 3. So back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for Griffin Canning. We go to the bottom of the second inning. We're scoreless in New York.
Have you ever...
Engineer Jonathan Chadwick, Ben Ingram here with you. It'll be the middle 3 coming up for the Mets here in the bottom of the second. Alonso, McNeil, and Taylor. Want to remind you, only the original Louisiana brand hot sauce is bold enough to be the official hot sauce of the Atlanta Braves. The original Louisiana brand hot sauce. That's Louisiana Hot. Buy you some. Pete Alonso to lead off. First pitch he sees comes unwound. Swung on and missed at a slider. They're hoping to get Alonso's bat going. For much of the first 2.5 or so months of the season, he was leading the league in RBIs. He's now fallen to third place. 0-1 low and outside. Eugenio Suarez and Seiya Suzuki have passed him as they're in a tie for first place entering the action today. But Alonso still tied for the league lead with Jackson Chourio in doubles. Here's the 1-1. And a pop-up on the infield. Olsen trotting in onto the grass, looking skyward, and he'll make the catch and one away. By the way, for Alonso, just 1 RBI in his last 13 games.
Yeah, Polar Bear has been scuffling a little bit. Global warming getting to him, I guess. But we saw him out there on the field before the game, hitting off the machine for probably the better part of an hour. I would imagine he took 100-plus swings out there off the machine. Probably set it up to throw some Grant Holmes sliders, I would guess.
1 out for Jeff McNeil. Always aware of him swinging on the first pitch. Likes to be aggressive early. First pitch, and he takes ball inside. This with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. We mentioned that the Mets won last night. They defeated the Braves 7-3. No score, bottom of the second. Here's the pitch from Holmes and a called strike. Mets looking to win back-to-back games for the first time in 2 weeks. They haven't won back-to-back games since June 6th through the 12th when they had a 6-game winning streak. 1-1 to McNeil. And he swings and misses at a slider down, 1-2. Mets hoping to get healthier sooner than later. Mark Vientos is expected to rejoin the Mets at some point soon. He's been down since June 2nd with a strained right hamstring. And in his absence, Beatty, Mauricio, they've tried to fill in at third base, and those guys combined to hit 156 since June 3rd. So that's been a big hole for them that they feel like will be a big reason they get back to playing the way that they had been once they get Vientos back. They've been without some big starters as well. 1-2 pitch in the dirt, 2-2. No runs, no hits, no errors for either team as we're in the bottom of the fourth inning. McNeil, 3 hits in the series, left-handed hitter. Holmes looking for his first strikeout, 2-2, and he'll get it. That time used a cutter down and in, and McNeil went after it. Couldn't make contact. So 2 down in the inning, and that's I just tore my reader that I'm supposed to read, so I'm holding this thing together. That's our Gas South bringing the heat strikeout. And just like Grant Holmes, Gas South is bringing the heat with no deposits, no hidden fees, and simple natural gas plans. This difference is good. Here's Tyrone Taylor. That'll be fouled back. Maybe we don't use the duct tape to tape to the window next time.
Just ripped it right now.
Just ripped it in half. You'd think I'd have all these things memorized by now. We do about 100 a night. 2 down for Tyrone Taylor. Pitch on the way from Holmes. And he missed a little bit low and outside with a fastball.
Yeah, that cutter to McNeil, that strikeout pitch was pretty nasty. He started it, if it was a fastball, he would have started in and been a strike inside, but it cut in off the plate on McNeil. Just couldn't get any lumber on it.
His 1-1 pitch. Low and outside with a cutter.
And, that cutter into a lefty is a glove side cutter. So, opposite side from his arm. So that is where he's more comfortable throwing that pitch, and that action was really good on it.
Holmes at the plate, 2-1 pitch, finds its mark, good slider at the bottom of the zone. I tell you what I love about that slider. I mean, yeah, he can throw it down, get swing and miss, but he can also dot the bottom of the strike zone and get called strikes with it. That is such a great pitch for Holmes. See if he goes to it again. 2-2 to Taylor, 2 to Lou. Swung on and missed at a curveball in the dirt. And back-to-back strikeouts for Grant Holmes. Down they go in order. We head to the top of the third. No score.
Marco's Pizza and Karate Kid legends have united because these legends know it takes time for greatness to rise. Just like Marco.
So Rockies is really like where my major league career really took off. It was a special time in my life, 7 years with the team. And this jersey in particular, 2018 postseason patch on it here. So I've always kept all these jerseys with the patch on them because that's what it's all about, is getting to the playoffs and trying to win the championship. The black jersey with the cutoff, not a lot of teams rock the cutoff anymore, but this is a jersey we wore all the time in Colorado.
Hugh Quattlebaum turning 47 years old today, so happy birthday to Hugh. And hopefully a Braves victory to celebrate. There'd be a lot to celebrate in that case. That'd be 3 out of 4 New York and a winning road trip before we head home to see Philadelphia. Eli White climbing in. Had a big base hit a couple nights ago, so he just about ripped the glove off of Brett Beatty on a line drive to third. First pitch to White, bounce foul to the backstop. Big crowd at Citi Field. It has been a rough month of June for the Mets. There's the 0-1 pitch on the way to Eli White. Griffin Canning kicks and fires. White takes the ball high. Mets travel to Pittsburgh after the game. They'll see the Pirates over the course of the weekend. Of course, the Braves heading home for what will be a very lengthy homestand. That'll be nice. There's the 1-1 pitch on the way to Eli White. He'll swing and send a changeup foul. I know we're all looking forward to being home. Tell you what, you have a week-long trip to Miami and New York, and you absolutely just nosedive your per diem really fast.
That's the truth.
1-2 pitch. That misses high, 2-2.
It feels like we've been in New York for a week in itself.
It really does.
Because of the 4-game series and having all-night games.
We were joking the other night. We've been here so long we about could have voted in that mayoral primary a few days ago. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And White lifts one to right field. That'll drop in for a hit. Able to dunk one in right in front of Juan Soto. Leadoff single for Eli White.
Yeah, nice job there, cutting down the swing, just putting the ball in play. Pretty nasty slider from Griffin Canning down and away. Eli just poking in it right. Now you got wheels on with nobody out.
Eli White over there at first base is really going to be interesting to see the combination of outfielders and who is here once Jurickson Profar is allowed to return. Here's Michael Harris. There goes Eli. Pitch swung on and fouled off. Looked like he had a pretty good jump. Harris fouled that off the gear of Luis Torrens, so he'll be in there with an 0-1 count. White back to first base.
I found an odd stat for Canning. You know, his expected ERA is much higher than what he's actually done, so saying he's gotten pretty lucky. But I noticed he has 10 caught stealings already this year while he's been pitching. So that's
pick off to first, and Eli back in with a dive.
That's 3 innings of free outs in stolen bases. So that would explain some of that luck. You know, you get guys on through hits, and then they get erased, stolen. These Mets catchers do throw pretty well.
No score, top of the third. Really good wheels at first base. White a big lead, held by Alonso. Canning out of the stretch, and the pitch on the way, and Harris with a pop-up to left field. McNeil going over towards the foul line. That slices right to the line, and McNeil's there for the catch. Eli tags from first base, and he arrives at second base. Man, he can move. That was caught by McNeil straddling the foul line, as he was a good ways down the left field line. And then Eli tagging from first and went into second base with a head-first slide.
That was pretty neat to watch Eli run there. You know, the point of no return probably halfway down the baseline, but it was all in front of him so he could see. And he realized, hey, I'm going to use these wheels, steal a free base.
Now a chance to score a run with the red-hot bat of Nick Allen. He's had a great series. He shows bunt, and he squares and sends one foul. That was fouled back to the backstop, 0-1. We were talking about Matt Olson earlier. He's gone 5 for 12 in the series. Big series for Matt. But right down there at the bottom of the order, matching him, Nick Allen. Nick is 5 for 12. And he's gone 7 for 19 against them this season. Home plate umpire John Tumpain wants some brand new baseballs. Gets 4 brand new pearls that he sticks in his pouch. 0-1 on Nick Allen. And the pitch on the way, bounced out to short. Lindor will have it. White stays put at second base, and the throw over in time. 2 down in the top of the third inning, and now we have an injury on the field. Griffin Canning on the play ended up on the ground. And he's holding his leg straight up into the air. He's down on his back and has his left foot up in the air. Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Is that Achilles? It was coming off the mound. Oh man. Watching the replay, that looked like Mike Soroka all over again.
Oh, I just got ill watching that.
Well, it was hit back to his right, so he planted to go that direction, which is the complete opposite direction from where he finishes on the mound, and then went down immediately.
Yeah, you could see the shockwave go up his calf. It's pretty clear that something popped there. We've been seeing, the public has seen a lot of ruptured Achilles here recently with what's been happening in basketball.
Oh, man, he can't even put any weight on his foot. And that will be it for Canning. Gosh. That is awful.
Yeah, that's not just a career-changing injury. That's a life-changing injury. That's a tough one.
Well, it was a ground ball to short, and you can just picture it in your mind if you're listening on the radio as he throws and lands on that first base side of the rubber, and the ball hit back, or first base side of the mound, I should say, and the ball hit to his right, so he plants to go the other way and then immediately goes down. Right there on the grass, halfway between third base and the mound, or halfway between third base line and the mound, will be more accurate. And now the Mets, unfortunately, will have to dive into their bullpen due to an injury. And, of course, the strategy for the Braves, you wanted to dive into that bullpen as quick as possible.
At Truist. You to see a game at Truist Park. Listen for your chance to win a pair of tickets weekday afternoons during our 4 o'clock hour on Chuck and Chernoff on 680 The Fan.
We're still in the top of the third here at Citi Field. Game remains scoreless. There's a hushed pall falling over Citi Field after Mets starter Griffin Canning likely ruptures his Achilles tendon. Really just trying to move around on the mound. So now we have a new reliever, Austin Warren, as you mentioned. Austin Warren has one game on the season. He was recalled from AAA Syracuse just today before the game. This is his third stint with the team. This year was also up in May, twice actually. Made his season debut on May 4th at St. Louis. In Syracuse, where he's been most of the season, he's gone 4-0 with one save, a 3.94 ERA, 29 innings pitched with 19 appearances, so that tells me, rough math, he's good for about 2 innings. They might even push him a little bit more here because this Mets bullpen has been worked pretty hard this series. The hard part about this for Austin Warren is that, Griffin Canning was cruising.
Yeah.
And Warren was probably sitting down there, shoes untied, goofing around with his teammates, and 5 minutes later he's warming up in front of 40,000 fans.
Well, you know exactly what that's like. You're down there in the bullpen. You're sitting here in the third inning. And yes, you have an eye on the game, but you don't really have to feel like you need to start getting ready for maybe another inning or two, or just thinking that way.
Yeah.
And not only do you have to think about it, you're in there.
Yeah.
And that happens so quickly. So like we said, Warren will get all the time that he wants to warm up, but that's a tough position for any reliever to be in, and especially for someone out of the Mets bullpen, because you and I were detailing the numbers last night. The Mets bullpen this month has been the third worst in Major League Baseball. It's been over 6.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, and I only had to do it a few times. But because we play so many baseball games, right, with 162 of them, a routine is very important in your preparation for the game. And these relievers normally have a time in the game where they're going to get ready and be ready to pitch maybe an inning or two before when they usually get in. And so it involves, weighted balls and stretching and moving your body so that you're already warm before you even step on the mound and start throwing. So unless Warren is ready from the first pitch, he likely hadn't done anything yet. And, now he's out there. This is a complete change from the normal routine. And we say he has all the time he wants, but the home plate umpire, Jonathan Payne, is standing there, and he subtly rushes you. They want the game to get back going. So they're always asking, hey, you ready? How many more? And so you do feel rushed out there warming up.
I bet. Well, so I'm guessing with what you're saying, what you're sacrificing in your routine is everything that you would do prior to stepping on the mound.
Yes.
That's difficult.
And you likely won't get as many throws off the mound as you normally would.
So right-hander Austin Warren inherits a runner at second, 2 down, or scoreless in the top of the third. Eli White at second, pitch on the way to Ronald Acuna, and he misses high with a cutter. Boy, Ronald Acuna putting up massive numbers since coming back from the IL, batting .380, 9 homers, 18 runs batted in. And he's scored 31 times. He's been doing it all. There's the 1-0 pitch. And Acuna with a high fly ball to shallow center. Taylor, Soto. Actually, that's going to be Mauricio who's going to make that catch. And that's that for the Braves in the top of the third. No runs, a hit, no errors, hit a man left. And we go to the bottom of the third inning, no score. You need all the energy you can get for game day. And at Georgia Power, we know that energy costs are an important part of every budget, and we're committed to providing tools and assistance to make a difference so you can save more energy for the game. Learn more at georgiapower.com/myenergy. Brett Beatty's had a big series. He's gone 5 for 11. Young man out of Austin, Texas, been playing a lot of third base here lately for the Mets. It's been in the absence of Mark Vientos. There's a called strike. First pitch cutter, 0-1. Cool, breezy evening here in New York after we had stifling heat for the first 3 games in this series. 0-1 from Holmes. Low it in. Did that get him in the foot? If it didn't, it just missed. And a 1-1 count on Beatty. Watching the replay, it got the foot of Sean Murphy. Murphy was trying to box it up, hit off his right toe. 1-1 pitch. Low and inside, 2 balls and a strike. There is only one other major league game going on right now. That's at Minnesota, where the Twins are all over the Mariners 10-0 in the 9th. Everything else a final. 2-1 pitch, stroked into center field. A base hit by Beatty. Braves can't get him out. He's 6 for 12 in this series. And it's a leadoff single for Beatty. That'll bring Torrens to the plate. Yeah, Mets and Braves tonight. Once that game in Minnesota comes to a close, we're the only show in town. Mets have their first base runner of the game, the single by Beatty. And Luis Torrens coming up to the plate. Holmes, a couple of strikeouts. You remember a couple of outings ago, he had 15 strikeouts in a game the Braves lost to the Rockies. There's a ball low. That's still one of the more perplexing statistical oddities that you'll see all year long. 15 strikeouts and a losing effort. Right on right versus Torrens, and the pitch on the way. Nothing wrong with that. Got a slider over to even the count at 1. Grant Holmes, very long, curly brown hair down past his shoulders. Ball in a black glove right in front of his belly. And the 1-1. Missed inside with a fastball. 2 balls and a strike on Torrens. Torrens hitless in the series, 0 for 5. Hayden Singer was their catcher last night. And Torrens getting the bulk of the work now that Alvarez was sent down to AAA. 2-1 pitch, ground ball out to third base. Riley gloves. The second, they get 1. Ozzie sends it to first base, pulls Olsen off the bag. Even a good throw would have been tough to get Torrens. But a 5-4 put out of Brett Beatty down at second base, 1 down, and Torrens at first base on the fielder's choice.
Yeah, we're hoping for double play there. Just too much real estate to cover to get 2 there. Grant did have 2 double plays last game. You know, he had 10 base runners in 5 2/3, but he did a great job of using that double play down there in Miami to get out of some sticky situations.
I know we always say that's the pitcher's best friend, but especially on a day when you walk 5 batters.
Yeah.
Ronnie Mauricio went deep last night, takes a ball in the dirt, 1 ball and no strikes on him. Mauricio has gone 4 for 8 in this series, so between Mauricio and Beatty, they've had some thump at the bottom of the order. Ronnie Mauricio, 24 years old, from the Dominican. He stands up there at 6'4", check swing. They appeal, didn't go. They list Mauricio at 6'4", 166 pounds. I mean, tall and very lean. Mauricio batting from the left side, takes the ball low and inside. That curve missed. And now for Holmes here in the 3rd inning, having a difficult time getting ahead. Those first 2 innings, throwing lots of strikes. Had a couple of strikeouts. For this inning, single, fielder's choice. And now a 3-0 pitch. Here it is to Mauricio, and there's a strike. Holmes at 38 pitches. 22 strikes. Pitch to Mauricio. There's another strike right there. Good cutter. After Mauricio, back to the top of the order to Francisco Lindor. No score, bottom of the 3rd. Good lead at first base by Torrens. Offering on the way, and a flare into right center down for a base hit. Busted his bat on that single. Trying to go first to third. Torrens. The throw goes to third. Not in time. And advancing to second on the throw to third base is Mauricio. And he's in there. And the Braves probably wishing they just hit the cutoff man, because now you got second and third with 1 down for the top of the order, and that's Francisco Lindor. And before he climbs in, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Braves Radio Network.
Every Atlanta Braves game, live on the air and streaming free on the app.
WCNN North Atlanta, a Dickey broadcasting station.
The Fan.
Francisco Lindor is 0 for 1 with a flyout to left field. He is the Mets leader, both statistically and vocally. So many times when he's hot, the Mets are hot. Holmes goes to work. Check swing. And he did not commit going after the curveballs. They appealed down to James Jean. He's the third base umpire. And a 1-0 count on Lindor.
And we've talked about the past couple days that Lindor is the engine behind this Mets offense, and Braves have done a good job on him. This series just 2 for 14, and in the last 2 series against the Braves, 2 for 25.
Got to keep it rolling right here. Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way to Lindor. And he reaches and misses for a fastball. Well, we were discussing that with Snit before the game. Look, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso, McNeil, they got so many good bats in the order. But this is the man that's leading the parade in Lindor. And if you were to ask the Braves what was behind the sweep of the Mets in Atlanta last week, Maybe towards the top of that list of accomplishments was keeping this man quiet the way that they did. But it is not easy to do that over and over like the Braves are hoping to do. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Lindor sends one foul off of his foot. That probably felt like a hammer coming down on his toes, rolled all the way out to Ozzie. And Lindor gingerly walks around behind Sean Murphy. He's got a 1-2 count with a 1 down. He's got a shin guard on, and it hit that guard, but it was right there on the inside of that guard next to his right ankle. See if Holmes wants to do him dirty and throw another pitch right there just like that. His 1-2 struck him out. Went down and in with a slider. And that's exactly where he went for that swing and miss. And that's the third strikeout of the game for Grant Holmes, and an enormous out for Grant here in the third inning.
Yeah, beautiful pitch there from Grant. That slider just going straight down. Right on the inside edge of the plate. Really tough pitch to lay off of, and a tough pitch to hit.
Not out of the woods yet. Here's Brandon Nimmo. Popped out to second base in the first inning. No score in the third. And Nimmo with a fly ball towards deep center field. Michael Harris looking up into the New York sky. He's under it and makes a two-handed catch chest high. So that ends the bottom of the third inning. And Holmes works around a couple of men on base. They leave 2 men in scoring position.
I'm Jonathan Mayo, and for more than 20 years, I've traced the path of baseball's rising stars, navigating the back roads of the national pastime and basking in the glow of small-town America's spirit, where the team is woven into the fabric of everyday life, where it's more than just a game. It's a celebration of the people, the traditions, and the culture that give these places their soul. This is Grassroots.
We were watching it, just makes you cringe because it just looks like an Achilles injury. Went down like he was shot and was in a lot of pain. Couldn't put any weight on that left foot as they helped him off the field. Yeah. They've had so many injuries to their rotation. There's another one.
Yeah, and I can sympathize with them. You know, I want to beat the Mets, but not at the cost of a career-changing injury like that.
Matt Olson to the plate. And there's a called strike on Matt, playing in his 700th consecutive game tonight. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the rivalry is. You want to see both teams go out there, play hard, and play injury-free baseball every night. 0-1 sent foul.
Yeah, I had an injury at the end of my career where I tore my left hamstring off the bone, and I thought somebody shot me, to be honest with you, and you can't really figure out what happened, but in about 3-4 seconds you figure out, well, everything's going to be different from here on out.
No score in the fourth. 0-2 to Olson, and he bounces one over the mound, charging Lindor. Gloves, exchanges, fires, and in time for the out, 1 down. Northside Hospital, for a healthier future together. Look to Northside.
Let's familiarize ourselves with Austin Warren. Probably going to be seeing him here for a little bit. I mentioned just one appearance on the season at the Major League level. He's a sinker, cutter, four-seam guy, so you see a lot of fastballs. 90% of his repertoire is those three fastballs. Also has a slider and a changeup as his off-speed pitches.
Home plate umpire John Tumpain takes out the broom and wipes the plate clean. Marcell Ozuna climbs in. No runs, 1 hit for the Braves. No runs, 2 hits for the Mets. Right-hander Warren brings the pitch. And a ball low and outside. Ozuna grounded out to third back in the first inning. He has 1 hit in this series. He's gone 1 for 11. He's trying to turn up the heat on Warren here and try to get the bat warm again. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And he'll swing and miss at a sinker. Count even 1-1 on Ozuna. His average at 246 on the year to go along with 11 home runs. 1-1 pitch. Check swing, fouled off, 1-2. Ozuna waves the bat over the plate, now steadies it. Staring down Warren, 1-2 pitch, and he missed away with a sweeper. That levels the count at 2. Ozuna wearing a canary yellow sleeve on his right arm. Waiting for the 2-2. And he'll send one down the right field line, and that's a foul ball. Bangs into the sidewall, do it again with a 2-2 count. We mentioned that the Braves will have the Phillies when we get home. That'll be a 3-game series starting tomorrow night. Bryce Elder getting the ball for the Braves tomorrow night, as that'll be a 7:15 Eastern first pitch. Spencer Schwellenbach in Game 2 on Saturday, and then Spencer Strider on Sunday. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Ozuna check swing. They appeal. Todd Tishner says no. And a 3-2 count. It's kind of like it's been rivalry week for the Braves. Seeing the Marlins, seeing the Mets, seeing the Phillies.
That's what it feels like.
Prior to last week, we've not seen the Mets at all this season. Took 70 games before we saw the Mets, as the Braves swept them in Atlanta and have taken 2 of the first 3 here. 3-2 and a bouncer up the middle. That finds daylight. Rolls across the grass of left center field. Base hit for Ozuna, and overrunning it, Taylor. Up with it, playing behind him, McNeil. He sends it in, but by the time the dust settles, it's too late. Ozuna is at second base. It's a single and an E8. And I'm wondering if that ball snaked on Taylor out there because he just completely overran it.
Yeah, you're likely right there. Let's watch a replay. You know, depending on the way they mowed the grass, yeah, it sure did snake on him. Whichever way the grass blades lay down, the ball will tend to go towards the end of the grass blade, and it can be tough as an outfielder, especially if you're running at full speed trying to field a ground ball.
They've kind of got that cross-stitch pattern in the grass out there in the outfield, that parquet look, you might say. Austin Riley takes the ball outside. You'll see a lot of these outfields now where left, center, and right all have the blades of grass going in, maybe out, then in, then out for left, center, right. So the ball rolls true with the blades of grass. But when you have that crossover pattern, it kind of snakes out there left to right. There's a called strike.
Yeah, all the golfers out there will know what we're talking about. The grain of the grass being very important when you're golfing. Well, it's also important in baseball when you're playing the outfield.
No score. That could change right here. 1-1 to Riley. A ground ball out to third. Taken on the second hop. Ankle high by Beatty. Sends it over to first base for the out. Ozuna has to keep it in park at second base, and now the Braves will be relying upon Sean Murphy for a 2-out base hit to drive in the run. So 2 away for Murphy. By the way, everything else in Major League Baseball, the final now. Cubs shut out the Cardinals 3-0. Dodgers beat the Rockies 3-1. By the way, Clayton Kershaw, 5 strikeouts in that game. He's 3 strikeouts from 3,000 career strikeouts. So that could happen in his next start. Marlins beat up on the Giants 12-5. And those two teams had some bad blood over the course of that series. Tigers shut out the A's 8-0. Blue Jays shut out the Guardians 6-0. Murphy fouls one off by the Mets dugout. Twins 10, Mariners 1. The Rays shut out the Royals 4-0. Bunch of shutouts in baseball today. And then the Phillies were defeated again by the Astros. Astros beat the Phils 2-1. Those scores delivered to you by Saia LTL Freight, the official freight carrier of the Atlanta Braves. All right, no score, top of the fourth. Runner at second, 2 down. 0-1 to Murphy. And the strike. Sinker at the bottom of the zone. Murphy, first month of the season, when he came back from the IL, had a big power surge. Now that's died down a bit here in recent months. 0-2 pitch, and he waves and misses at a sweeper that never had the plate. So he goes down swinging, and the Braves leave a runner at second base. We go to the bottom of the fourth.
Here we are, Arlington, Texas. This is the Graham Slam Burger. So 2 patties, brisket, caramelized onion, American cheese, ranch aioli, or ranch mayo, if you will.
Oh yeah, we're in Texas.
Yeah.
It's something that you definitely want to take a picture of and just put on the gram. I took a bite of it, but it still looks dope.
It's a burger that looks great, but also delicious.
Facing Griff Holmes, facing Griffin Canning as our pitching matchup this evening. But Canning, on a ball put in play by Nick Allen in the third inning, had to be helped off the field after what looked to be an Achilles injury. Mets are calling it a left ankle injury for now, and he's left for imaging. But that changed everything for the Mets, and in his absence, Austin Warren has come on, and he's done a nice job going an inning and a third to this point scoreless. Meanwhile, Grant Holmes will be facing Soto, Alonso, and McNeil here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And this is the Tidal Wave Auto Spa inning. More on that after the first pitch to Juan Soto. First pitch to Soto and a ball inside. Tidal Wave Auto Spa is making Braves country clean car country all season long. And if the Braves pitch a scoreless fourth inning tonight, Tidal Wave will offer half off their Best Wash membership tomorrow. Learn more at TidalWaveAutospa.com/Braves. Juan Soto awaits the 1-0 pitch. And here it is from Holmes. And he just missed inside with a curveball. It doesn't matter the situation. It doesn't matter if the bases are empty or men are on base, or even if you're up by a good number of runs. It always makes you uneasy when you're facing Juan Soto. Very dangerous hitter. Hit 2 homers last night. Takes a ball low and in here in a 3-0 count. And that's particularly the case for Braves pitchers. Soto, in his career versus Atlanta, is batting .322 with 23 home runs in 83 games. And he's got an OPS of 1128. My goodness.
Is that good?
That's pretty stout. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Soto takes ball 4 outside. And sometime the lesser of two evils is just putting him on. But it's a leadoff walk here in the fourth inning.
Yeah, sometimes with Soto, as you said, you pitch him carefully, and we talked about how Pete Alonso was out there before the game hitting off a pitching machine. He's been scuffling a little bit here lately. This series just 2 for 11 with 6 strikeouts. So, you take your chances with Pete.
First pitch to Alonso and a ball inside.
And obviously he's a dangerous hitter, can leave the yard at any time. But he's been scuffling a little bit here lately, so that gives you the luxury of pitching Juan Soto just a touch more careful.
The only man who has hit into more double plays on this Mets roster than Alonso is the man at first base, Juan Soto. Soto has hit into 14 double plays. Alonso has hit into a dozen of them. And that would be nice right here. In fact, Sean Murphy just had to visit to the mound. And maybe they can find a way to pull that off. No score, bottom of the fourth inning. Holmes at 50 pitches. Pitch on the way, in the air to deep right center field. Going to send back Acuna. Acuna to the wall. It's off the wall on the fly. Soto around second, heading for third base. Braves hit the cutoff man. Runners are at first and third. Alonso comes away with a booming single that hit off the wall on the fly. I think he thought it might have been gone.
But Soto had to wait to see if the ball was going to get down, so Ronald played it nicely off the wall, and as you mentioned, made a good, accurate throw there to second base to keep Alonso at first. So that double play is still in order.
So a walk and a single. There's Jeff McNeil, one of the 3 strikeout victims that Grant Holmes has tallied to this point. No score, bottom of the 4th. Alonso at first, Soto at third. Holmes trying to find a way to get McNeil. Comes to the plate, first pitch swinging, looped into foul ground and foul as that one hops over the tarp. And an 0-1 count. Grant Holmes lets his right arm hang by his side, looking into his catcher, Sean Murphy. Now straightens. 0-1 pitch. Low and inside with a slider.
Oddly enough, the 4th inning has been Grant Holmes' biggest challenge this year. Has an 8.16 ERA in the 4th frame. A lot of hits, 13 earned runs in 14 innings. So, trying to avoid repeating history here.
1-1 to McNeil, and a swing and a miss there and a good slider. That tells me that's those guys at the top of the order seeing him for the second time and figuring something out.
Yeah, and a couple times this year he's gone out in the 4th and just completely lost his command. A lot of walks and home runs add up to big crooked numbers in the 4th.
Sure could use a strikeout. No one out. 1-2 pitch. Line drive, foul down the right field line. Pulled a curveball.
The most common thing you see in starting pitchers is struggles in the 1st inning. For whatever reason, they're not ready to go out, or they don't have their rhythm yet. But for Grant, that's been the 4th inning this season.
Runners at the corners, no one out, no score, bottom of the 4th. 1-2 to McNeil. In the air to center. Michael Harris going to drift back, now sprint in, still coming in, makes the catch. Soto tagging from third, and now he'll hold. Good throw in from center field, and Soto would have been toast to the plate. So he stays put, one down. That's a big out.
That's interesting. I don't know if that was a misread by Michael in center because he started back and then charged in, or just a decoy trying to bait Soto into running.
I mean, Michael had all his momentum coming towards the plate, and that throw bounced just to the third base side of the mound and then shot up there to Murphy. Kind of rolled away from Murphy, but there was no pressure on him because Soto wasn't coming. Tyrone Taylor to the plate, and he receives a first pitch strike. That's a big out of McNeil. Tyrone Taylor struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. No score in the 4th. And the 0-1 pitch. Taylor swings and misses at a slider. Grant quickly ahead, 0-2. Holmes 0-2. Fly ball to right field. To his right, Ronald Acuna. That's pretty deep. Catch is made. Soto tags. And he sprints for the plate as the throw goes to second base. And the Mets break the wrapper on this one. Sac fly RBI for Tyrone Taylor. And it's 1-0 New York in the bottom of the 4th inning. They cash in that leadoff walk, and here comes Brett Beatty.
Yeah, you hate to give up a run, but, the inning starting 1st and 3rd, no outs. You're okay with 1 run. You got to score 1 run to win the game if you're the Braves. So if Grant can limit this to just the 1 this inning, he's doing okay.
Brett Beatty singled against him last inning, and like we mentioned, Beatty has been swinging a stick of dynamite versus the Braves in this series. He's got 6 hits. Pick off over to first base, and Alonso back in standing. Alonso probably honored that he got a throw over. He does not have a steal this year. He's 0 for 2. Pitch from Holmes, and Beatty takes a ball high. Well, for Beatty, like we mentioned, 6 hits in the series. It feels like every last one of them has been a screamer right up the middle. He's been wearing out center field. 1-0 pitch. And a fly ball towards left field. Eli White sprinting to his right towards foul ground, and he's out of room. That's over the sidewall. That becomes a souvenir. Fan lost a hat. Eli picks it up, lobs it over the sidewall. Inning started with a walk of Soto. Then Alonso singled. That put runners at the corners. McNeil flied out to center. Taylor with a sac fly to right. And that's how they picked up their 1 run, and that's the only run of this game for either team. Grant Holmes, 61 pitches, 37 strikes. 3 strikeouts and a walk to this point. 1-1 to Beatty. Missed outside with a fastball. That's that pitch we were talking about earlier, missing away to left-handed batters. That's exactly where that one was.
Yeah, I'm okay with him missing the zone with his fastball. Just to keep that in the hitter's minds. You got to keep throwing it.
2-1 fouled off. Yeah, just because, what was the opponent batting average, 350 something?
Yeah, and the slugging percentage, 750, the highest of any four-seam fastball in the major league. So just a ton of damage against that pitch. So what Grant did there, he left one arm side away to Beatty, and then he came back with a beautiful cutter up and in for a foul ball.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Holmes brings it, and he missed inside with a cutter.
Yeah, 19 of the 35 runs Grant has given up this year have been home runs, and 10 of the 14 home runs he's given up have been on that four-seamer. So a good majority of all the damage he's given up this year.
Alonso runs, 3-2 pitch, fouled off over the Braves dugout. Went with a fastball there on the 3-2 pitch. One nothing Mets, bottom of the 4th. Great to be with you tonight here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network. Final game in this series. Braves trailing by a run. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Alonso goes. Holmes brings it, and he bounced a curveball for ball 4. As soon as that bounced, a very frustrated Grant Holmes just kind of looked aimlessly off into the seats beyond the left field wall. Just talking to himself out there. Second walk this inning. And now they're at first and second for Luis Torrens. A lot of bullets fired this inning by Holmes. Trying to get through it, giving up just the 1 run. First pitch to Torrens. Finds its mark. Fastball in the outer third. Torrens, a right-handed hitter from Venezuela, hitting .216 on the season. He bats 8th in their order. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd inning. Grant's 0-1. Missed low with a fastball.
You think about this Mets lineup, extremely top-heavy. Those top 4 hitters having a ton of home runs. And so as a starting pitcher, you want to be really efficient against the bottom of the order. You really have to attack them to give yourself more room for error at the top.
1-1 pitch. That time he fouls off a curveball and took a bite out of Sean Murphy.
Yeah, the other 5 hitters in the lineup are no slouches, but it's a pretty tough gauntlet to run there, those top 4 hitters. So that probably makes that walk a little bit more frustrating for Holmes.
That was a slider that was fouled off by Torrens, and it got Murphy directly in the left thigh, right above the top of the shin guard. Murphy ready now. 1-2 on Torrens. Grant Holmes a glance to second base. Kicks and fires. Check swing. They appealed. He got his man. Todd Tischner, the first base umpire, confirms that he did commit on the swing, and that ends the bottom of the 4th inning. So Grant trying to weave in and out of traffic. He got clipped one time.
With these designs, I wanted to bring out the Old English letter font, but add a twist to it. This is one I've developed over the years and used on a lot of tattoos. You can tell a sign painter or a lettering person by their numbers. That reveals a lot about them. It's an honor to design for the Dodgers. It's almost gone beyond sports, even into fashion. People wear LA caps all over the world.
Coming here with you, coming to you from Citi Field here in New York. Fourth and final game of this series. Big crowd tonight, probably the biggest of the series. This stadium's been the home of the Mets since the 2009 season. And my partner to my right was actually here for that very first game.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool moment.
Here comes Ozzie Albies on the pitch on the way from Warren. And he socks one down the right field line, but that will hook foul into the seats.
Yeah, we came back from spring training, a couple days before opening day. And we did open at home, and it was nighttime. We got here, and they turned on the lights, and we were the first players to see the stadium. And it's a beautiful stadium. I think they did a really nice job on it.
Mm-hmm. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Albies takes the ball outside. How long were you a Met? Just that one season?
I've had naps longer than the time I was a Met. I think it was about 10 days of the regular season, the whole spring training, but not very long during the season.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. And he reaches out and rolls one foul. And then where to? Texas?
Yes, yeah. I was here just long enough to check into the Holiday in LaGuardia. That's where the players were staying. The bed was sloped at about 20 degrees down to one of the corners. Not the nicest accommodations I've ever stayed in.
1-0 Mets here in the top of the fifth inning. Warren brings the pitch. And Ozzie sends one foul.
So I couldn't wait to get out of that hotel. And so I go get an apartment. And the day I got my apartment, they hand me the keys. I get designated for assignment. I give the keys to the team and say, hey, see you later.
That same day?
Same day.
So accepted by the apartment complex, but denied by the Mets. 1-2 pitch. And a ball outside, 2-2.
And luckily, I had kind of seen it coming, so I checked with the team first. Hey, if I get this apartment, I'm not on the hook for it the rest of the season, am I? Luckily, I wasn't. I couldn't afford it back then, that's for sure.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Ozzie Albies. That'll be bounced foul on the right field line. Well, I bet the next place where you lived, you had a flat bed.
I never saw the bed in that apartment. You talking about the one I rented?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about going from the Holiday Inn.
Oh, yeah.
Where you had the sloped bed.
I went back to my house down in Florida.
Here comes a 2-2 pitch to Albies, and he swings and misses at a cutter. And one down here in the inning. Did you know the original Louisiana brand hot sauce is the official hot sauce of the Atlanta Braves, made with peppers, vinegar, and salt, and the perfect balance to make the food you're eating taste better? Now you do. It's Louisiana Hot. Buy you some. And this has been the home of the Mets since 2009. They were at Shea from 64 to 08. They actually played the first two seasons in franchise history at the Polo Grounds in 62 and 63. Pitch misses low to Eli White. So 2025 is the Mets' 17th season in this ballpark. They've had 5 winning seasons in this ballpark. Fly ball towards left center field. It's going to send Taylor and McNeil back. And on the run, it's Tyrone Taylor onto the warning track to make the catch. Center fielder was sprinting to his right and had a lot of ground to cover and did to retire Eli White.
Yeah, both New York franchises opened new stadiums that year. I remember Yankee Stadium cost, I think, 3.5 times as much. And personally, I like the Citi Field better than the new Yankee Stadium, probably because I'm biased towards the old Yankee Stadium more so than the new one.
That makes sense. 2 outs for Michael Harris, and he takes the first pitch strike. One nothing Mets, top of the 5th inning. Braves have gone down in order twice in this game. And trying to stay away from that right here. Austin Warren has done a great job coming on in relief suddenly for the injured Griffin Canning. Ball outside, even the count up 1-1 on Harris.
Yeah, Mets might be holding open auditions for starting pitchers. Austin Warren representing himself pretty well thus far.
1-1 to Harris. Fouled off into the second deck to our left. And the Braves suddenly down to their final swing here in the top of the 5th.
I did read Sean Manaea is on his way back and strained his oblique. He'll be back soon. So you hate to see all these starting pitcher injuries around the league.
They've been without him and Senga, now Canning. 1-2 misses high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
McGill as well.
Right.
You really, as the Braves know, you can never have too much starting pitching. There's no such thing.
Michael Harris 0 for 7 in the series. Warren's 2-2 pitch. And Harris breaks his bat, rolling one out to third. Beatty's got it, triggers over, and the Braves go down 1-2-3 in the 5th. So quiet as a whisper through 5 innings, the Braves bats. We head to the bottom of the 5th, 1-0 Mets. Nothing lead over the Braves. Mets will be sending up Mauricio, Lindor, and Nimmo. You know, he said something last inning, or in the top of this inning, that made me think. You mentioned how the Mets and the Yankees opened up their 2 current ballparks the same year, back in 2009. And it kind of hit me, something that these 2 stadiums have in common here in New York. The exterior, or at least in this case, the exterior facade built to look like stadiums from baseball's past. Mauricio grounds one foul. If you were to look at the current Yankee Stadium, the exterior looks like the original Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And then the exterior facade of this structure here at Citi Field is a nod to Ebbets Field. They've got that Jackie Robinson rotunda and the big archways and really pretty exterior. There's the 0-1 pitch. There's a ball high and outside. But that's a good side-by-side if you were to Google the facade of Ebbets Field and put it next to Citi Field. Look very similar.
Yeah, I love it when stadiums, harken back to stadiums of the past. They did a nice job here.
1-1 to Mauricio, and he cuts it loose, missed the slider, 1-2.
Yeah, the clubhouses here for home and visitors are very comfortable. Maybe not as many bells and whistles as Yankee Stadium, you could say, but very comfortable, very nice. Spent a lot of time in the visiting clubhouse here, that's for sure.
Grant Holmes kicks and fires a 1-2, and a lunge and a miss at a curveball for strike 3. Would you say that Yankee Stadium has every bell and every whistle?
Yeah, so when I was with the Yankees in 21, and they've redone the home locker room since then, and it's like the guys say it's absolutely massive. You can get lost in the home locker room now.
Wow.
And even before that, I mean, they had everything you could ever want. I mean, you could spend all day in there and not get bored.
Back to the top of the order to Francisco Lindor, and he'll swing and miss at a first pitch cutter. And a good pitch for Grant tonight.
And Truist, the same way. I mean, you can play video games, pop a shot. You can do whatever you want in there. You can go on a scavenger hunt and try to find the hidden ice cream fridge.
Well, then that answers the question, because I've had former players who played 20, 30, 40 years ago. There's pitch high and outside. I've heard other former players say, why do players go to the ballpark so much earlier these days?
Yeah.
Because there's so many more things to be offered to them.
Yeah, really.
From the food they eat to the activities and getting ready for a game and things like that. All outside, 2-1.
Yeah, I never understood it, but there's guys that show up at the park at noon, 12:30 asking where the food is. It's like, hey, you're in New York. Go to the deli, man.
There's a 2-1 pitch to Lindor. He'll cut it loose and miss a slider.
Or if you're J-Chad, you go to Subway.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you'll talk to players who played 20, 30 years ago, and for some of them, there wasn't even a team bus to the ballpark.
Yeah.
You're taking a cab to the ballpark, probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 2-2 line drive up the middle. Fortunately, that did not take a bite out of Grant Holmes. I don't know how it missed Grant. Well, that was a rocket off of the bat of Francisco Lindor, and his third hit of the series. It's a 1-out single.
Yeah, my first 2 days of my career in 2008, I took the last bus to the field. I said, okay, BP's at 4:30. I'll get there at 4. The second day, John Lackey had to pull me aside and say, hey, you got to come to the field earlier. You can't let all these veterans beat you to the field. I said, what? Nobody told me. I didn't know.
Brandon Nimmo takes a slider for a ball low. Yeah, I'd say that's an area of the game that's changed a lot in the last 25, 30 years when players get to the ballpark. 1-0 Mets, bottom of the 5th inning. Nimmo takes a ball outside.
Yeah, some guys, some very early arrivers, you can tell what time of day it is by where they are in their routine. Like Andrew Miller's a teammate that pops to mind that I played with that was like that.
2-0 pitch, ground ball right side, that finds a hole. Base hit into right field. Advancing to second base, Lindor. It's a single for Nimmo. And the Mets threatening runners at first and second, 1 down, and that will bring Juan Soto to the plate. So the players just so routine, like clockwork. They're doing the same thing, same time every day.
Yeah, get there, eat, work out. Once Andrew got all his work done, he was doing the crossword puzzle. That would take him roughly 30 to 35 minutes. And it's like that's what all these guys do. They get there early and they hang out.
Juan Soto, the batter. Speaking of crossword puzzles, he's about as difficult to solve as a New York Times crossword puzzle. Time called now as a pitch timer violation will be charged to Grant Holmes, as if he needed it to be any more challenging versus Soto. So now a 1-0 count for Soto, and Holmes in some trouble here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a 1-0 lead for the Mets. Lindor at second, Nimmo at first, and Soto, who has walked and scored, standing in the left-hand batter's box. 1-0 pitch. There's a strike. Fastball in the outside corner. Soto with homers 18 and 19 of the season last night. 1-1 pitch. Low and inside. 2 balls and a strike. We were talking about double plays earlier and how Soto has hit into more of them than any player on the Mets roster. He's hit into 14 double plays. And if there's ever a time where Grant Holmes could use a double play, this is it. 2-1 pitch. Popped up on the infield. Riley under it, right next to third base. And as he's standing on third base with his left foot, makes the catch. So that's pretty big out right there and 2 down.
We'll take that. Infield pop-up off the bat of Juan Soto. That's just as good as a strikeout. Nobody can advance. Got to love that. Let's go back to what we were talking about last inning, how Grant was so frustrated with a walk in the bottom lineup. Because when you get to this part of the lineup, you're going to have your hands full.
1-0 Mets, bottom of the 5th. Alonso 1 for 2 of the single. First pitch swinging, and he hits one into center field for a base hit. Around third base, Lindor. Harris comes up with it, fires to second base. RBI single for Pete Alonso. And the man who had totaled just one RBI in his last 13 games picks up the RBI single here to make it 2-0 Mets. Jumped on that first pitch slider, went down to get it, and cued it off the end of his bat. RBI number 65 for Alonso. First to third for Brandon Nimmo as Lindor scored on the play. Here's Jeff McNeil. Once again, Holmes trying to limit the damage to 1 run. Holmes brings it. And a curveball down in the dirt. McNeil didn't go after it. McNeil with a strikeout and a fly out to center field. One over from Holmes. Missed high with a cutter. Now the Braves have action in the bullpen. Holmes at 88 pitches. And his 2-0 pitch. Out off over the Braves dugout. I believe that's Pierce Johnson warming up in the Braves bullpen. Meanwhile, Dedniel Nunez is throwing for the Mets. 2 balls and a strike on McNeil. Holmes fires, but he misses low with the cutter. This game was scoreless through 3 innings. Mets picked up 1 run in the 4th on a sac fly RBI from Tyrone Taylor. And they plated 1 run here in the 5th inning on the RBI single by Pete Alonso. They lead 2-0. 3-1 from Holmes. And he missed down with a slider, and that's ball 4 to load the bases. And that'll bring out Sean Murphy. He'll pay a visit to the mound to chat with Holmes before he faces Tyrone Taylor. Well, Taylor is 0 for 5 in the series, but don't let the numbers fool you. He's got a quick bat. And he had the sac fly to drive it a run in the 4th inning. And also in the series in Atlanta last week, it was Taylor who hit a home run versus Spencer Schwellenbach. In fact, he had a 3 RBI game on that Tuesday the 17th. That was a game where the Braves came back and beat the Mets 5-4. But Taylor was the best bat in the lineup that night. Holmes trying to dig deep. He's surrounded by Mets. 2 down. Pitch on the way to Taylor, and he swings at the first pitch and fouls back a fastball. Got away with a cookie right there. Holmes blowing on his hand. Composed and looking into his catcher, Sean Murphy. 1 to Taylor. Outside, missed with a fastball. Taylor's belted 3 grand slams in his career. Got to keep him quiet right here. A Met at every base. McNeil, Alonso, and Nimmo at first, second, and third. 1-1 pitch. Huge swing and a miss and a good slider. That might be the best one of the inning. So he's gotten ahead with that pitch. Maybe one more good one could strike him out. Well, this will be his 25th pitch of the inning. He had 25 pitches last inning. The 1-2 pitch. Ground ball fouled on the third baseline, went lunging for a curveball. Some really high-stress innings in the 4th and 5th for Holmes. Well, this will likely be it for him. Grant needs time to tie his shoelace. Left shoe needed to be tightened up and adjust the pant leg. 2-0 Mets, bottom of the 5th inning. Bases loaded, 2 down. Right on right matchup. Holmes versus Taylor. Grant surveying the runners around him. 1-2 to the plate. Bounced foul. Went back to the curveball, and he got a stitch of it.
Grant being stubborn with that curveball. Last 2 pitches have been curveballs. Taylor 0 for on the season against that pitch.
Ready with his 1-2. And he delivers. And he gets a swing and a miss for strike 3. Went back to the curveball again. 3 straight curveballs. And he finally got Taylor to miss one. So that strikeout into the bottom of the 5th inning. Mets pick up another run, but they wanted much more than that. They pick up 1 run on 3 hits. No errors, and the bases left loaded. We advance to the 6th inning. 2.
like build this for them and spend the last year of coming up with this concept and getting it off the ground and getting everybody here. Like, it just feels really good to have everybody coming and experiencing the thing that we've been working so hard on. To be able to like take the experiences of Comic-Con and add that to a card show just is really fulfilling, because as somebody who grew up going to card shows and still goes to the same card show in the same church basement in Trumbull, Connecticut every month, like, it's great. Card shows are amazing, but to be able to add all of this experience is what makes this great.
I feel like food and sharing a meal with someone is a universal language. You can't go to a ballpark and not have a nice hot dog. So if I'm at the ballpark, I'm gonna get a nice heavy glizzy. You gotta have chili on there, you gotta have cheese. If your hot dog isn't bending in the middle because it's like about to fall apart, then you're not doing it right. So you gotta have a glizzy and then something cold, whatever it is, beer, lemonade. You gotta have something cold to wash that hot dog down with.
Into emergency scouts pressed into emergency duty. Our third Mets pitcher of the game will be right-hander Dedniel Nunez. The 29-year-old sporting a 4.5 ERA. He only has 7 appearances at the major league level this year. We did see him in Game 2 of the series, where he went an inning and a third with 1 hit and 1 strikeout.
I'd say it's about time for somebody to figure something out offensively. Braves have just 2 hits tonight, and they have been shut out 2-0. Alan Acuna and Olsen here at the top of the 6th inning. It's also the Georgia Lottery home run jackpot inning. First pitch swinging, popped up, left field, coming in McNeil. McNeil under it, slows, makes a one-handed catch. And Allen is history here in the inning. 1 pitch and 1 down. If a Braves player hits a home run this inning, our contestant Nicholas Turner from Lawrenceville, Georgia, won $2,650. And if you'd like to enter for your chance to win at least $1,000 from the Georgia Lottery, visit 680thefan.com/GA Lottery. Georgia Lottery, today could be the day. Ronald Acuna, the batter. Acuna is 0 for 2. He's failed to reach. Takes a called strike here. We've been giving you the details of Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson's on-base streaks lately. They're the 2 longest current on-base streaks in baseball, as Olson has reached in 26 games consecutively and Acuna 21 games consecutively, but neither has reached tonight. 0-1 pitch and a fly ball to deep center. Tyrone Taylor drifting, still drifting to the warning track. He's under it, makes the catch. And Acuna can't reach here. So 2 down. 1 note on Acuna. If you're listening the other night, you know that Acuna had his career 200th stolen base. And with that steal, he became the 2nd fastest player ever to reach 200 career steals and 150 home runs. He's at 174 homers to go along with his 200 steals. Ronald achieved those feats in 751 games, and the quickest to ever reach 150 home runs and 200 steals in a career, Eric Davis did it in 681 games. But, of course, Ronald missed a pretty good amount of time with 2 injured knees. Olsen takes the ball outside. Davis finished with 349 career steals and 282 career homers. 1 ball and no strikes on Matt Olson. Olsen takes the ball high. Olsen 0 for 2, strikeout and a ground out. And the 2-0 pitch. There's a called strike, 97, right at the bottom of the zone. Two runs, 6 hits, and an error for the Mets. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Braves. 2-1 from Nunez. Big, healthy cut, but a miss at a slider. Olsen really put some muscle into that swing, but couldn't connect on that breaking ball. Now Nunez striving for a 1-2-3 inning. He's 1 strikeout away from accomplish that. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And he misses high, 3-2. If Olsen can reach, then Ozuna would come to the plate. Nunez set right at the belt. 3-2 pitch. Olsen with a big swing and fouls back a slider. Ben, Darren, and Jay Chad with you. Final game of the series. If the Braves can come back and win the game, that would be a very successful trip to the Big Apple, but trailing 2-0 in the 6th. Here's the 3-2. Olsen, another good swing, fouling back a slider.
Yeah, good at bat here by Matt Olsen, fouling off. A lot of good pitches from Nunez. Nunez, pretty simple repertoire. 55% four-seamer, 44% slider. So it's either going to be four-seamer slider here.
Again, his payoff pitch. He swings and misses at the fastball. 98 inner third, and he buzzed it right on by Olsen. So no winner in the Georgia Lottery home run jackpot inning. Braves can. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, 2-0.
All right, boys, 2-0 Mets, bottom of the 6th. We'll assume that those are Braves fans. They're ATLians.
That's right. Well done. That hat has me a little bit concerned, but other than that,
a lot has.
His average at 228. He's had a big series, as we've discussed. Pitch on the way to him. There's a called strike. Beatty out of Austin, Texas. He had committed to play at University of Texas. So he was going to be wearing one shade of orange or the other. Signed with the Mets when they drafted him. And decided to go play pro ball over going to play for the Longhorns. It's a ground ball to second base. Taken on 3 hops by Ozzie. Wings it over to first base and 1 down. Napa is a proud partner of your Atlanta Braves. With America's largest network of parts and care, Napa has all the bases covered when it comes to your ride. So 1 down. All right, you did some research last night on the size of rats in New York City and how many billionaires are in New York. And it got me thinking about how wild a place this is. Here's Luis Torrens. And Torrens takes a called strike. And I decided I'd come up with a small list of things that maybe our listeners didn't know themselves about the city of New York. No balls at a strike on Torrens. I have a feeling you're going to know some of these, though. Here's the 0-1 pitch on the way to Luis Torrens from Pierce Johnson. There's a ball outside. This is one I think that you'll know. This was the first capital of the United States briefly after the adoption of the Constitution.
I didn't know that.
New York City.
How about that?
Very briefly, the first capital of the United States. Here's a 1-1 pitch. And Torrens lets it loose and misses. Times Square was named after the New York Times newspaper. It was previously known as Longacre Square. That's until the newspaper moved in 1904. I never thought about that. I never put two.
Yeah. Been there a million times. Didn't know that. You're 2 for 2.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Pierce fires and lifted shallow center coming in. Harris. He darts in, makes a chest high running catch, and 2 down in the inning. This one was fascinating to think about. France, as you know, gifted the United States the Statue of Liberty, which was shipped across the Atlantic as 350 individual pieces in 214 crates, and it took them 4 months to assemble the thing on Ellis Island. I mean, what a project.
Did they put it together for us, too?
So, and across the ocean, there's a called strike. That may be more challenging than putting it together.
I hope they included some instructions. Nothing's worse than getting a project and not having good instructions.
Well, they got it assembled, and it looks pretty good. Here's the 0-1 pitch on the way to Mauricio. And he'll hit a fly ball to center. That's going to send back Michael Harris with speed. Back in number 3. And down they go in order. We'll have the big dramatic factoid when we come back. We head to the top of the 7th inning, 2-0 Mets.
Braves fans, this is
Oppo Taco.
I'm going to guess it's an opposite field, upper deck, maybe something like a...
Yeah, home run to the opposite field. Yeah. You got it.
This is a good one, a hack.
I don't know. I mean, is it the same as like the layman's term hack, like a bad chef?
You've guessed correctly.
Okay.
Someone's a hack, someone that's just nailing it in.
Yeah.
They're not putting their heart into it.
Braves have 2 base hits, a single by Eli White, and a single from this man, Marcell Ozuna. It'll be Ozuna, Riley, and Murphy versus Nunez. Home plate umpire John Tumpain now finally goes back behind the plate. Gives the green light to the right-hander Dednio Nunez. First pitch to Ozuna. And there's a called strike. Are you ready for my final New York City wild fact you might not have known?
You bet.
This has to do with New York's Federal Reserve Bank, which is in Lower Manhattan. There's the 0-1 pitch. And Ozuna takes a called strike. The New York Federal Reserve Bank has the largest gold storage in the world. Mm-hmm. The vault is 80 feet below ground level and contains $90 billion in gold. That is crazy.
That is crazy to think about.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. And a called third strike. Slider gets Ozuna.
And surprisingly, that is the one fact I did know. I've been down there to walk by the Federal Reserve, and you can see it. It's down there in the financial district down by Wall Street. And it's crazy to walk over it and think, there's $90 billion in gold beneath my feet.
80 feet below you.
Yeah.
Buried treasure. Here's Austin Riley. He just missed hitting a homer back in the 2nd inning. And Riley swings and misses at a slider. Got to get the Braves on the board. Unfortunately, the theme of the night across Major League Baseball has been shutouts. Of the other 8 games across Major League Baseball tonight, half of them have ended in a shutout. Oh, one misses outside. Braves only down 2-0. You get one good inning going, all of a sudden you're right back into this thing. You could take the lead with one big inning, but they have not been given a sniff tonight from these Mets pitchers. 1-1 checks slider back one. It's not like the Mets pitchers have littered the scorebook with strikeouts. I mean, there have been 7. Been a lot of contact, but nothing to show for it. Nunez brings it. And Riley fouls one off weakly down the third base line. That'll give us time to pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Atlanta Braves radio network.
Never miss a pitch of the Braves.
WCNN North Atlanta, a Dickey broadcasting station.
The Fan, and streaming free on the Fan app.
2-0 Mets, top of the 7th. Base is empty, 1 out. 1-2 to Riley, and fouled off again. Trying to get him on base for Sean Murphy, who's on deck. Right-hander Nunez comes set. Catcher Torrens sets up away. That's where the pitch goes, and it's swung on and missed by Riley. A slider frisbeed away from the right-handed hitter. Back-to-back strikeouts for Nunez, and 2 down here in the 7th. Coming up in between innings, it's the 7th inning stretch, and that's brought to you by 13 Heroes, a premium line of spirits founded to honor the lives of the 13 service members killed in Afghanistan in 2021. Help turn tragedy into legacy by visiting 13heroes.com today. Sean Murphy climbs in. He'll take a ball outside.
You know, just all those New York facts, it just reinforces that this city is just so unique. There's so many interesting things to see and learn about.
1-0 pitch and foul.
Yeah, my wife worked in the TV industry, she still does, but one time I came up here with her and I got to play tourist because I wasn't working for once in New York, and normally I'm here playing. And I took one of those double-decker bus tours where you sit sideways.
Yeah.
And I appreciated New York so much more after that. I really enjoyed it.
Bet you learned a lot. 1-1 to Murphy. That's fouled off his foot out to third.
Yeah, history, talk about money and finances and music. I had kind of soured on New York at that point just from coming here when it's 100 degrees and all the things that New York can throw at you. But then I got to play tourist, and my appreciation for the city grew.
I think Braves country's appreciation for this place could grow with a win tonight. That'd be 3 out of 4 in this series. There's a ball outside. Let me ask you this, because I've heard different things from different players on most challenging ballpark to play in.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this place can get pretty rowdy. But I've heard opposing players, and I've heard Braves players, there's the 2-2 pitch, and that's fouled off, say that Yankee Stadium was one of the most challenging places for them to play, and that it rivals what you get in Philadelphia.
I think, I would agree with that. Yankee Stadium probably is the hardest one, especially at the beginning of your career. You walk in and you just feel like the weight of the world is on top of you, and it is really unnerving being out there on the mound or in the box there.
2-2 to Murphy, and he swings and misses at a high fastball. And another unnerving inning for the Braves. They go down to 1-2-3 as Nunez strikes out the side. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Mets 2, Braves nothing.
through July 1st, so what are you waiting for? Hurry and play Cash 4 today to instantly win an extra $444, only from the Georgia Lottery.
Hey, Braves fans, this is John Michaels reminding you that Jeff Francoeur joins Finn, Home Team, and me in the locker room every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on your radio home of the Braves, 680 The Fan.
Bottom of the 7th here at Queens. Braves still trailing the Mets 2-0. Pierce Johnson was good last inning, just 3 outs, 2 fly balls center field. Very efficient work. On to relieve him, the left-hander Dylan Dodd. Dylan comes to us by way of Kankakee Community College in Kankakee, Illinois. I really just wanted to say that. Then he transferred to Southwest Missouri State. He's doing pretty well for himself here at the Major League level after converting to a full-time reliever. Through 8 appearances, still goose eggs on the ERA, 7 1/3 innings pitched with 6 strikeouts. He did pitch Tuesday here with 1 inning pitched and 1 strikeout.
He had a good inning. He'll face Francisco Lindor. The first pitch he fires in there is a called strike. Lindor tonight 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. No balls and a strike now on Lindor. Left-hander Dodd kicks and fires. That'll be sent foul. Of us. And when they stand, they block our view of the plate. 0-2 pitch. That'll be sent foul. Fortunately, Citi Field has a pretty good collection of ushers that work this area, and they'll come over here and look up at us, and we kind of communicate without speaking. And they say, "You want me to take care of this guy?" basically, and I give a nod, and he just made a guy in a Mike Piazza jersey sit down so I could see the play. There's a ground ball weakly out to the mound off the third base side. Dodd's got it, spins and fires. That is a great play. What a fantastic play by Dylan Dodd, springing off the third base side of the mound, going to glove it, plant, and firing in the complete opposite direction from which he was running. And we'll make that our Truist play of the game, brought to you by Truist. When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC. One down here in the 7th. There's Brandon Nimmo. He swings at the first pitch, cutter, and misses. I mean, we had to strike on that opportunity for Truist play of the game because there's been nothing else the rest of the game.
Yeah, I love it that a pitcher earned it as well. Looking athletic out there.
0-1 from Dodd. Fouled off, 0-2.
Yeah, the Braves are spoiled with Spencer Schwellenbach and Chris Sale. And Dylan Dodd just made a really good play there.
Foul ball by Nimmo. Knocked the mask off of Murphy. Rung his bell a little bit. Nothing new for Murph. 0-2 now on Nimmo. Here it is from Dodd. Low it outside with a slider. One-two. Tipped into the mitt for strike 3. I mean, at best, a check swing. It's almost like he was just trying to pull his hands in from that pitch that was riding in, and it just clicked off the bat and then right into the mid of Murphy.
Take it. Yeah, Dylan, mostly cutter four-seamer, but he snuck a four-seamer in there above the zone and it actually tipped off of Nimmo's knob of his bat. Take it, strike 3.
2-0 Mets. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Dylan Dodd has to go through Juan Soto for a 1-2-3 inning. And that's exactly what he did Tuesday night. In fact, he faced Soto and got him to ground out to shortstop. First pitch to Soto. And he'll swing and foul off a cutter. Braves in the 8th will have Albies, White, and Harris. And statistically, the 8th inning this season has been about the best inning the Braves have produced. But in the first 7 innings of this one, it's been as silent as a graveyard for Atlanta at the plate. No runs, just 2 hits. Here comes the 0-1 to Soto. All low and outside, 1-1. Soto 0 for 2, a walk and a run scored. Mets scored once in the 4th, once in the 5th. That's been it. Dylan Dodd's 1-1. Roped out through the right side and a knock into right field. Over to cut it off, shy of the warning track. Acuna gets up, spins and fires in. Threw a strike from deep right to Ozzie. It was right there on the edge of the outfield grass. If Ozzie were a catcher there and Ronald were a pitcher from 150 feet away, that'd have been a strike. That was an amazing throw.
Yeah, Ronald certainly is gifted with a cannon out there. I think he's tied with Ellie De La Cruz for the hardest throw of the year in major leagues, like 104 point something. Ridiculous.
Unbelievable. There's Pete Alonso. Alonso takes a strike. Alonso has 8 homers from tying Darryl Strawberry for most career homers in Mets franchise history. Trying to keep him quiet here. 0-1 is high. He's about 320 RBIs back of David Wright for most RBIs in franchise history. One pulled foul. That'd have been a pretty good trivia question. Who leads Mets franchise history in homers? And of course, I already gave you the answer.
Yeah, I got to meet Darryl Strawberry a few weeks ago. He's playing golf in St. Louis.
How was he swinging them?
I didn't get to see him play. I got to see him eat and drink.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Now pick off over to first base. Soto back in standing. 252 homers for Darryl Strawberry in his career. Most in Mets franchise history. Pete Alonso, 244. He just passed David Wright a couple of homers ago. One-two pitch. And Alonso sends a drive down the left field line. That's down for a base hit. It's a fair ball down the line. This will be a double for Alonso. Going first to third, Soto. And Alonso has the league lead in doubles. That's his third hit of this game.
I don't know. In my opinion, in this series, the Mets have been very cautious with their sends on the bases. Third base coach Mike Sarball was going to send Soto there, and I was hoping he would because he would have been out by 20 feet. So that was the right call here today. But in this series, they really haven't taken any chances on the bases.
Yeah, good point. Well, they had a bunch of outs on the base paths in the series in Atlanta. Some really bad gaffes on the base paths. There are multiple situations in that series where they'd get an out on the base paths, and the Braves are thinking, boy, what a gift that was. So they've toned it down a little bit with the aggression on the base paths. But they're at second and third, 2 down now for McNeil. They're trying to add on to this lead. Pitch on the way to McNeil, and he's going to lob one out into center field over a leaping Allen and a base hit. Soto will score, Alonso will score, and it's 4-0 Mets on the 2 RBI single from Jeff McNeil. 3 straight 2-out hits. You mentioned the top-heavy nature of this lineup. Not that Dylan Dodd didn't already know that, but he just experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, McNeil loves to attack that first pitch. He got just enough of it to lob it over leaping Nick Allen.
Well, now Tyrone Taylor will continue the inning. This inning started with a ground out by Lindor. Brandon Nimmo then struck out. But then a single by Soto, a double by Alonso, a 2 RBI single by McNeil. Travis Jankowski comes out to pinch run for Jeff McNeil. And Dodd throws over. It's to Taylor. And a called strike. Fastball over at 93. Left-hander Dodd. A glance to first. Now the 0-1 to the plate. Big swing and a miss on a fastball by Taylor. Well, a few times Dodd has had the Mets down to their final swing here in the 7th. He has not been able to close the door yet, though. Oh, 2 to Taylor. Missed low with a cutter. Did you know the all-time hot sauce leader in RBIs is the original Louisiana brand hot sauce? It's like a double play for your mouth. That's Louisiana Hot. Buy you some. 4-0 Mets, bottom of the 7th. Dodd kicks and deals. Ground ball, hot shot out to third. Backhanded by Riley. And a good strong throw across the diamond for the final out. But the Mets pick up 2 more runs. This time on 3 hits. No errors and a man left. Braves have to get to it.
At Citi Field, and here at Citi Field, we have a new Braves reliever. Big right-hander, Michael Peterson, 6'7", 195. 1-year-old right-hander is now making his 4th stint on the big league roster this season, twice in April, once in May, now here in June. With the team so far, he has 2 appearances, just giving up 2 earned runs and 3 innings pitched with 2 strikeouts. And big righty does throw hard. Fastball reaching 97, 98.
There to oppose him, 7, 8, 9 in the Mets order with Beatty, Torrens, and Mauricio. By the way, they just announced a sellout crowd tonight. 42,646 at Citi Field for the finale of this 4-game series. Ball inside to Brett Beatty. This is the Yanmar strikeout the side inning. And if Peterson can strike out the side, our contestant, Brian Smith, will be the lucky winner of a brand new Yanmar utility terrain vehicle. Enter all season long at Braves.com/Yanmar for your chance to win a Yanmar UTV. 1-0 pitch to Beatty, low it in. You'll also be entered for a grand prize drawing at the end of the season. Yanmar built together, back to longer. The Mets scored once in the 4th, once in the 5th, twice in the 7th. And the Braves have yet to score, trailing 4-0 here in the 8th. 2-0 pitch, a hack and a miss by Beatty. On top of that, Mets pitchers, and this is Stanek, Nunez, and Warren, going back to the single by Ozuna in the 4th inning, Mets pitchers have retired 14 Braves batters in a row. Braves haven't had a base runner since the 4th inning. 2-1 pitch, another swing and a miss by Beatty. And if the Braves can't score in the 9th, you'd have been looking at 10 runs scored in the first 2 games of this series versus just 3 runs scored for the Braves in the last 2 games of this series. So in between games 2 and 3, the lights went off offensively. Tall right-hander Peterson set right at the letters. Now the 2-2 to Beatty. And a fly ball to left field. Backpedaling Eli White. And Eli has it in his sights. Makes the catch, 1 down. And no winner. The Yanmar strikeout the side inning.
Yeah, I know the Braves lineup probably did a lot of prep for facing Griffin Canning here today. And I don't think that's an excuse. They should be able to hit relievers here or there. But they probably didn't expect to see relievers in the game quite as early as they did. But these Mets relievers have thrown the ball well. The Braves, nonetheless, got to get something going.
Luis Torrens, the batter. And a first pitch strike. Yeah, pretty gruesome injury for Griffin Canning. And looking back on this one, of course, the score is the first thing you see. But beneath that is the injury to Griffin Canning, who, from where we sit, looked like he had an Achilles injury. There's a ball sent foul. That was back in the third inning, and they had to dive into their bullpen. And if I'm doing a Mets broadcast tonight, my player of the game is what the relievers came in and did, silencing the Braves in a situation where they weren't expecting to come into the game when they did. Oh, 2 to Torrens. Sent deep but foul into the seats down the right field line. By the dozens, they rise down there in the lower bowl, go for the souvenir. Time called right as Peterson was about to deal, and a pitch timer violation. John Tumpain threw his hands up and vacated the area, then pointed out to Peterson. We've seen a handful of those tonight. So 1-2 after the violation. Peterson's pitch missed high with a fastball. Fastball 98.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff. Very intriguing, especially from that tall frame, 98. One of the cutters he threw looked really nasty.
Looking for the strikeout. 2-2. And he missed low with a fastball.
You know, we play these teams around the league. Every team, it seemingly has a young guy throwing 98 you've never heard of with a great sweeper, and he's just unhittable. I'm hoping maybe Peterson could fill that role.
3-2 pitch. Liner in the air to right field, in line with Ronald Acuna. Barely had to move, and makes a chest-high catch for the second out. Well, Michael Peterson, a guy we've seen just a handful of times as you're discussing. Interestingly enough, Peterson was born in England. And as a 1-year-old, his father was transferred to California. Can you imagine that move? And he grew up in Mountain View, California, although he was born in the UK. Pitch on the way, and Mauricio is going to foul one back. 6'7" righty out of Middlesex, and now pitching in the big leagues. Pretty well traveled. A 1 pitch, low and inside, 1-1. 4-0 Mets, bottom of the 8th. Mets have gone down in order 3 times tonight. And Peterson working on making that another go-round. That'll be sent foul. Braves in the 9th will have 9-1-2. That'll be Allen, Acuna, and Olsen due up. So it would be one more shot for Acuna and Olsen to extend their on-base streaks. Neither has been on base tonight. In fact, the Braves only had 2 base runners the entire game. 1-2 pitch. Low and inside, 2-2. Two and 2 on Mauricio. Peterson brings it, and he missed inside with a fastball.
Peterson's playing with fire with that pitch timer. He let that one go at a 0.01 seconds.
He takes it all the way down. Bent at the waist, now straightens as there are 5 seconds on the pitch timer. And brings it. And he strikes out Mauricio with a cutter. And that'll end the bottom of the 8th inning. Mets go down 1-2-3. But the Braves have only had 2 base runners the entire game. We go to the top.
Gosh, we've gone to Sea Dogs games since we were kids.
I've been coming to see the Sea Dogs for the last 30 years. Great experience.
Everybody here is just bends over backwards to help people out and wish the world was like it is right here at the ballpark.
We've always wanted to be more than just a baseball team. We want to be strong, active, contributing members of the community. And I think that effort is seen by the people and the fans, and they want to support that effort.
know, in Boston, every now and then you'll do those throwback days where you bring out the big baggy jerseys, and the baggier the better. When I broke into the league, everybody was wearing really baggy pants, and then as the years go along, I started wearing these skinny, mini, tight pants that looked like they were painted on. So by the time I was with Boston, I really wanted to wear the baggier, the better. We just wanted to be flying around in the outfield there, having a good time.
Last call for the Braves here in New York. Mets leading it 4-0. As we head into the top of ninth, we will have a new Mets reliever. Mets bullpen pitching really well, needless to say, with a 0 on the board in the run column and just 2 hits for this Braves offense. Doesn't get any easier for the Braves. The new pitcher in the game is the Mets closer, Edwin Diaz. Diaz picked up a save last night, recording just 1 out, and also tossed a scoreless 9th in the first game of the series, giving up 2 hits and 2 strikeouts. He is 16 for 17 in save opportunities. Batters hitting a paltry 163 against him.
He's just trying to take the baton and do what the relievers before him were able to do. 14 in a row sat down by Mets pitchers. And it'll be 9-1-2. Drake Baldwin will actually pinch hit for Allen. Now the first pitch to Drake is going to miss outside. Drake was one of the only rays of sunshine for the Braves last night. Hit a home run in the 4th inning and a 7-3 loss. He takes a strike here, 1-1. Baldwin batting .288. His next homer will be his 10th of the year. 1-1 pitches outside, 2-1. And just trying to get on base. See what the top of the order can do one last time. Pitch from Diaz. Low and in with a slider. 3-1. No Brave has even walked tonight. Just been 2 singles. 3-1 from Diaz. And a fly ball to center. Tyrone Taylor going to drift in. Jogs makes the catch. 1 down. 15 in a row set down by Mets pitchers. One down, back to the top of the order. Acuna is 0 for 3. A strikeout, a pop out, and a fly out. Well, that 21-game on-base streak being pushed to the limit here tonight. That'll be swung on and missed. Fastball 97 tailing away from him. Oh, 1 from Diaz. Check swing. Didn't go after the slider. 4-0 Mets, top of the 9th. Diaz, the 5th pitcher used by the Mets this evening. There's a ball low and outside to Acuna. Well, last night the Braves were trailing 7-1 going into the 9th inning. And got a little rowdy there in the 9th inning. Sent 7 men to the plate and made them use Diaz. Braves scored twice last night in that 9th inning. Lost the game 7-3. Ball inside, 3-1. For Diaz, 9 pitches, 6 balls. Three-1 pitch. Called strike. That slider push to the count, 4 to Acuna. Diaz kicks and fires. 3-2 fouled back over to our right. We'll do it again with a 3-2 count. Again after Acuna, it'll be Olsen. Righty Diaz looking into his catcher Luis Torrens. And his 3-2 pitch bounced foul over by the Braves dugout.
Yeah, to me it feels like Diaz is really leaning on that slider a lot more this series. Looking at the numbers, he's over 60%. 65% sliders now. The guy that used to throw 99-100. Fastball is down just a couple ticks.
Maybe we'll hang one. 3-2, popped up, shallow left, backpedaling Lindor, makes the catch. And Ronald Acuna will likely see his on-base streak come to an end at 21 straight.
That was a slider from Diaz. Both of his sliders this inning that have been put in play have jammed the hitters. You know, just it's not doing much tonight. Hopefully Matt can get into one here.
So here's Olsen. Final hope for the Braves in the 9th inning. First pitch swing, ground ball, ripped through the left side and a base hit into left field. And if nothing else, Olsen will extend his on-base streak. He has now reached base safely in 27 consecutive games, which is the longest streak in the big leagues and the longest of Matt's career. That ends the streak of 16 consecutive batters sat down by Mets pitchers. Braves have a base runner for the first time since the 4th inning. Marcell Ozuna, check swing. They appeal, strike one. Two down, top of the 9th. Runner at first. Braves down 4-0. 0-1 in for a called strike. 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And this sellout crowd of 42,646 rising to their feet. Mets are 1 strike away in the 0-2 pitch. And he missed outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This would be the first time in 2 weeks the Mets have won back-to-back games. One-two. Struck him out swinging. And the Mets win tonight 4-0 over the Braves. So the Braves came to New York, won the first 2 games in the series, but could not find a way to win last night nor tonight. And these 2 teams split this 4-game series right down the middle. For the Braves in the 9th, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. Final score, Mets 4, Braves 0. Back with the totals after this.
A golf instructor who knows technique can improve an aspiring pro's swing. 4. But one who really cares can help transform a career.
There he is, your new champion.
When you team up with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
When you need a lawyer after an auto accident, don't just choose any legal team. Make the right call with Ken Nugent. Ken is based in Georgia. Other big-name legal teams aren't even from this area. Strike one. Ken gets you your money quick, while other legal...
Gosh, we've gone to Sea Dogs games since we were kids.
I've been coming to see the Sea Dogs for the last 30 years. Great experience.
Everybody here is just bends over backwards to help people out and wish the world was like it is right here at the ballpark.
We've always wanted to be more than just a baseball team. We want to be strong, active, contributing members of the community. And I think that effort is seen by the people and the fans, and they want to support